Hello, everyone. This is the first episode of the Freaky Friday podcast. And in this podcast, I will be talking about various adult subjects. So, this podcast is meant for 18 plus only. So, if you're under 18, please click off now. This will just be a shorter episode because this is a pilot episode of this podcast. So I will be talking about my thoughts on pornography in this episode. Honestly, I think that modern pornography is kind of problematic. It depicts fetishes and also just sex in general in a very inaccurate way. Like, I think that the porn industry needs to change because it exploits women and also other minorities a lot. And I feel like this needs to change. And as someone who's a former sex worker, I had to quit because too many people were demanding too many unrealistic things. And I found out very quickly that this is a common problem in the sex industry. A lot of sex workers and also former sex workers have had to face this kind of stuff. Now, I've always been curious of when was the first porn ever released? Hold on, let me Google it real quick. By the way, not all the episodes will be like this. If you guys want more, I want to do interviews with all kinds of like sex workers to like better understand their perspective on sex and porn and all that, which is why I wanted to name the podcast Freaky Friday Podcast. And also, wow, I just now found out when the first porn was ever made. It was made in 1908. Most consider the first pornographic film to have been a IECUD, or also known as a La Bonne Hébergée, which was made in 1918 after the first Pathé newsreels, before the time the first Western feature film. Wow, I did not know that. That was a lot earlier in time than I thought it would be. I honestly thought the first porn would be made in the 60s or 70s, to be honest. Because, that was when media started very quickly improving in regards to quality. So, yeah. Oh, and by the way, most of the episodes will probably feature guests. I will have to find a way to record Discord calls. I don't really know how to do that, but I want to interview like sex workers and porn stars and all that stuff. I want to interview people in regards to the field of sex. I also want to interview like other like mental health professionals that specialize in sex and like sexual health and all that. And I also want to interview doctors that specialize in sexual health as well. But I also want to talk about different fetishes on this podcast and what they are and the origins of them and like the history behind different kinds of fetishes and kinks. Like, I want to do it in alphabetical order. The first official episode will probably have to do with a fetish that starts with the letter A. But yeah, I want to start this podcast. I'm really excited and I hope you guys like this pilot episode. It's not really a official episode, but I hope you guys really enjoy this podcast. I've never done any content creation like this before, so I'm sorry if I am not good at doing a podcast like style of content. But also other things I want to talk about on this podcast is sex and disability, sex and LGBT, like how LGBT people do the nasty, and also just general sexual historical facts and all of that. But yeah. Anyway, I really hope you guys like this pilot episode of the podcast, and let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching the first unofficial episode of this podcast, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.